Are you considering to build your first in your organization intranet based on the Office 365? Probably you're thinking how to use SharePoint to implement it, how to achieve improvement in your organization using something called SharePoint and using Microsoft 365 to do that. In this video, I will show you how to use Microsoft 365 applications to prepare the SharePoint intranet, how to prepare yourself to such a project, and what kind of challenges you can meet in the path from starting from zero to building something that will be starting point for every employee in your organization at the very early of the working day. Intranet is realistically quite big word. Behind it is some kind of centralized portal available inside the organization that allows to communicate and collaborate with other employees, with other colleagues in the very centralized and organized way. Of course, this is fully digitally available solutions in the internet browser that allows you to improve the communication across the organization. If you're hearing intranet, SharePoint probably will be one of the first technologies that you want to map with that kind of business requirement, but you will see in this video that probably you will need to modernize your approach around how to build modern intranets using Microsoft 365, because nowadays it's not only SharePoint. Moreover, the way how that kind of solutions were built in the last 10 years probably is a little different approach than the way how organizations building communication portal, intranets, collaboration portal, employee oriented portals in the Microsoft 365. In this video, I would like to help you to prepare yourself for that kind of project, what kind of consideration you should take, what kind of technical solution you should select as the initial steps, and then based on that foundation you will be able to start to implement that kind of portal solutions by yourself or maybe with third-party vendor. I hope this will be the first part of the series of the videos that will introduce you to the process of building modern intranets using Office 365, using SharePoint and more. And if you will like this video, please leave the thumbs up. If you want to get the notifications and support this channel, please subscribe. Moreover, if you have any additional questions, do not hesitate, just leave the comments below. And before we will move forward, let's ask ourselves why at all we're talking about intranet solution for our organization. What is the purpose? What is the reality without that kind of solution in our company? First of all, in the organization that does not have any kind of intranet portal, you should assume that communication and knowledge in the organization is decentralized. A lot of communication to the employees, to the end users are sent through emails, and if you have the luck to be employee when important email is sent, or you are not missing that somehow, or you are not missed in the communication, you will get that. But imagine if you joining the company day later, you will not have the access to all previous communication that were shared through the emails to all employees. Moreover, a lot of communication, a lot of knowledge about the business processes, about the organization is on the human level. So people know that and you need to ask them to get that knowledge. You have to go through the organization, ask your colleagues who does what, how the structure of the company looks like, or maybe what are the main key points in the strategy for this year. And of course, networking in the organization is important, but it will consume a lot of time to get that knowledge. There's no Google effect. If you want to look for something, you need to ask people first. And this will be super time consuming exercise for you if you will dig to get some kind of information. Moreover, a lot of information, a lot of announcements will be printed out in paper. Of course, this is not, let's say, environment safe for our reality, at the same time, if you will print it out some kind of announcement and put it in the board, how to update it, how to improve the information if something will change. It's not possible. The process is very slow and you need to go to some place to get that information. If you are a new employee, especially working with the customers, you can expect to get huge binders of the printed out procedures, printed out information about the process, about the way how you work. And again, if these processes will need to be updated, somebody need to update your binder. Printed out the new procedures, replace it. You can imagine how many mistakes, how many human errors could happen in such a process. And this is the reality when you're working without any centralized application that will manage the communication and knowledge in your organization. If you are office employee, you are in the privileged position in such a case, but if you're working on the frontline level, if you want to learn more about it, check other videos on this channel, and most likely you'll be cut off from that kind of communication. Maybe your manager will be able to share some information, but personally you will be not able to get that, because maybe in your factory, maybe in your office, when you're facing the customer, the only thing you can get is the email or maybe printed out announcement. This is very not efficient way of the communication across huge organizations, and that's why having something centralized could really improve the way how the information flow works inside your company. There is also one more important element and the role of the intranet. Intranet portal will not be the only one application you're using on your daily basis. There will be multiple apps, probably dozens of apps you need to execute probably every day when you're working in the information worker role. In such a case, having the place which contains the navigation to all of these apps and to what is most important, the most updated version of this app is super important. Imagine how much time you can save on onboarding of the new employees if the only thing you need to do is to navigate them to the centralized app, which can navigate them to the other applications in the organization, to the right solution for the time reporting, for the holiday requests, for the CRM system. And again, how many questions will not be asked to other colleagues, to other employees, if that kind of information will be stored in the one centralized intranet portal. And to be very fair, in the Microsoft technology stack, SharePoint, and right now SharePoint Online, was the first choice to build the modern intranets that will centralize knowledge management and the communication in the big organizations. In this video I will tell you a little more about this approach, that probably right now there is much more than just the SharePoint, but if you're thinking about it, this is really the app that could help you. You can build the application that will navigate your users to the most crucial key systems across the organization, the application that they need to use, give them the direction to open the business processes requests about the orders, holiday requests, time reporting, traveling, anything that is required for the, let's say, organization of your work. Navigates to the other departments and find the information about them, about the people working there, processes connected with them, and also through elements like document centers, so documents that are important for the daily work in the organization, and search engine, possibility to go through these elements, because sooner or later there will be a lot of pages, a lot of documents, and you need to be able to find them. Having the search capability will allow you to find this information much faster than asking multiple people. You can see this is the intranet that is developed without single line of code. We have the announcements across the company. We have the key information provided by C-level. We have the documents shared in the organization, company videos, calendars, and much more. Some also communication collaboration from Viva Engage / Yammer. And this is something very simple on the basic level. We just centralize the knowledge, documents, information about the departments, navigation to the crucial parts, announcement, and this is something that will immediately improve the way how people work and how people search for the information. And this is very basic stuff, because what we are sharing, we're just sharing one SharePoint site, which could be starting point to building modern employee-oriented portal in the Microsoft 365. And what is important when you thinking about the intranet nowadays, you should focus more about multiple applications that you can use to deliver the solution for your employees. Nowadays, you should consider intranet as a mixture of the applications, and you can imagine we will start with SharePoint. I would say that we should start from Microsoft Teams. This is really the app that should be centralized place when you navigate users and where you want to share with them the most important elements. Of course, you can integrate it very heavily, this platform, with SharePoint Online using Viva connections, which brings this view, simplified view for the end users, but also that allows to navigate these users to your full intranet portal based on SharePoint. If we will go back to our home application, you will see we can also navigate directly from here the users to the key applications that we are using or key business processes. We don't have to go to SharePoint directly. And moreover, we can bring them not only to the SharePoint, which is mostly communication one-to-many, but we can also navigate them to the Viva Engage, so where you will be able to find other communities where people can share ideas about the docs, or maybe about totally different stuff, about SharePoint, renting things, all totally crazy ideas that could be created in the communities. You can also move the people to use storylines, so modern approach to something that could be maybe similar to blogs, when people could post information, announcement, questions, share the knowledge with a very modern approach. And this is the way how Viva Engage is positioned right now. You want to build the knowledge across the organization, use the Viva Engage. And you can see this is another application that could be open in Microsoft Teams and deliver the communication many to many. And one more thing that is also quite important, which is part of this Viva suite and modern approach to intranet portal, is also Viva Learning. So product that allows you to centralize the training, knowledge management, be online player for your training materials across the organization. And why I'm mentioning all of these apps? Because these apps are free. Are free in the meaning that they are included in the every subscription of the Microsoft 365, including frontline workers, so you can build that kind of portal, build that kind of solution based on multiple apps. Microsoft Teams, Viva Connections, Viva Learning, Viva Engage and SharePoint, deliver it to the every employee in the organization. And just one more thing, remember that all these applications are also available in the mobile view. You have the access to the Viva connections on the mobile device. You have the possibility to also navigate the user between all these informations that we have here directly through mobile devices. So if the user will not have computer, they will be able to use Microsoft Teams to get all of that. And moreover, if they would not like to do it, which is also very common nowadays, that people more and more using mobile devices to collaborate inside the organization, you have ready to use solution. You should also assume that sooner or later you will be asked by your management, okay, that sounds great, we have all these solutions, but still we need to do some kind of work to implement that portal. What is the really benefit behind it? And you can mention improvement of the communication, improvement of the collaboration, but in the end, how to measure that. And I want to recommend you to read the report derived by Forrester about how Microsoft Viva, in my opinion, employee-oriented applications could improve your company. And one of the biggest ROI KPIs that are highlighted in this report If you will implement that kind of portal, first of all, you will decrease the onboarding costs connected with onboarding of the new employees. But second most important KPI behind it, you can reduce the attrition of the employees. So building modern communication and collaboration portal could help you to first faster onboard new employees and cheaper onboard new employees, but also to do not lose these ones which are present in your organization. In the first year, in the most of the cases, attrition rate is decreased for 10%. In period of 3 years, attrition could be decreased up to 20%. These are the really big numbers that you can calculate as a possible ROI for your organization. And the second report I want to recommend you to read, you will find the links to both of them in the description of the video, is the report from Nielsen Norman Group about how important it is to have the mobile version of the intranet and how much organization pays to have that kind of functionality inside the organization. You can imagine that middle organization pays about $50,000 to have just the mobile version. And I highlight that because more and more employees in the organizations and more of employees of the customers I'm working with requires to have very user-friendly mobile version of such a portal. Thankfully, if you will focusing on the Microsoft 365 technologies, you will have that kind of functionality by design. All the Viva apps, SharePoint, Microsoft Teams are mobile ready, and this is huge advantage. You can imagine how much money you can save if you will focus on that kind of platform. I highly recommend to take a look on both reports. You will find the links to them in the description of the video. And you can ask me, okay, it sounds great, we have the technology, we have the idea what we want, so let's start, let's do it. Yeah? This will be great success in our organization. At the same time, if you look back for last 10-15 years of the companies that were implementing intranet portals, a lot of companies fails. How many good intranet portals you remember from the previous companies that you were working for? That's not the great number, I believe. And there are few reasons why intranet portals project fails in the longer term. First of all, a lot of companies planning to build huge, long, big projects. So a lot of functionalities, a lot of user stories, a lot of features that are required by the business to build universally good, perfect intranet portal in the organization. That kind of project will be very big, very long, and very expensive. Moreover, when you're starting that kind of project and it will take 1-2 years, you can imagine that after that period of time, company will be in a different position. The requirements, the people will change. And it could end up with the situation that a lot of initial assumptions are not applying to the reality where you end up with the project. Moreover, when you're thinking about what is needed to be implemented as a part of that intranet portal, could not mix with your business users. To be fair, you never know if something will click with the people, with how many people in the organization will love this or other feature. You can guess, you can try, but still you will not be sure for 100% of the functionalities that you will plan. And what does it mean? In my opinion, in my experience, for the intranet functionalities, there is always, let's say, 20% of the functionalities that giving 80% of the value. So Pareto rule applies here very strongly. Most of the functionalities for the big project, for the big portal, will totally not be used by the users. There will be few that they will love, they will follow by that. And if you will plan that kind of long waterfall project, you will not have space to adapt to such a situation. Another element that make that kind of projects unsuccessful is the lack of the mobility. A lot of implementations of the intranet based on the SharePoint server had no mobile version. There were no possibility to gather that kind of knowledge from smartphone, from the outside of the office. Nowadays, it's totally not acceptable approach. Remember, if you want to communicate with the users, it has to be possibility to do that through mobile phones, through every place, through the internet. And the last element, which could be sometimes the most crucial part, business needs to be engaged. The most unsuccessful internet portals were delivered by the IT departments. So people focus on the technology, about the performance, about the technical aspects, but not focus on the business processes, business expectations, and the way how people think and for what kind of information they're looking. If you want to be successful in the area of the implementation of the intranet portal, you need to have business partners on your side engaged to that project. They will need to give you the feedback about things that you're implementing, and you will need to adapt to their feedback. And slowly we're getting to the point, so how we should prepare to implementation of the intranet based on the Microsoft 365. First of all, remember, this will be the mixture of the multiple applications that you will have in the Office 365. Microsoft Teams, SharePoint Online, Viva Connections, Viva Learning, Viva Engage. It's good to get to know a little more about these applications, to have the understanding how to map the features between all of these apps and how to mix them together to build one application that will be delivered as an intranet portal to your end users. So get to know the technology, but at the same time, think small. Start with the small, simple solution. Test it with your business users. Start with the landing page. Start with the landing page on SharePoint. Deliver it immediately, quickly, in 1 week to your employees. Test what they like, what they're missing. Get the feedback, adapt, change. Do not start with the big project, with big ideas. If you have them, write them down, but build that on the phase by phase project approach. Never think about that kind of project in the waterfall model. Think more agile. Start small, get the business feedback, adapt, implement the next functionality. If the next feature will not work with your business users, drop it. Get to the next one. This is the way how you need to work in that kind of solution, to map the functionalities, to map the priorities to the phases, implement them step by step, get the business feedback, and adapt your plan based on the information you're getting from them. Don't be scared also to push that kind of features to mobile devices. You will see people will love it. They will go for the coffee, they will take the smartphone, they will check what are the C-level announcements from the last week. They will check the photos of event that they were participating in the last month. Give them the possibility to consume the content in the mobile devices. This is very important nowadays to have that kind of solution and promote that kind of model also with the business users. And the last element I want to highlight in the area of starting with that kind of solution, gather the business users, gather the business owners, some kind of partners on the business side that you can work with during that project. You will need to have their feedback. You will also need to have their support in the promoting that kind of solution across the organization, and discuss with them about business accelerators that you can build that will bring users to your portal. Maybe it will be navigation to the apps. Maybe it will be sell, buy, rent community in the Yammer or Viva Engage. Maybe this will be many of the cafeteria that they can buy the lunch every day, or other solution that you can provide maybe with IT team that will bring the users to visit your intranet every day. I will talk more about that kind of elements in the next videos, but remember, think about the accelerators and the ideas how to bring people to visit your intranet portal on the Microsoft 365, not only to get the information about the company, but also from their personal perspective. I believe if you will have the partners on the business side, they will help you to figure out that kind of business scenario. I hope this video will help you to prepare yourself about executing the project connected with the intranet based on SharePoint or Office 365. You can see this video is very initial, helping to build the idea how to do it, what kind of elements that you need to focus on, and hopefully I will be also able to deliver another videos that will go through that process and help you to prepare yourself to the next steps, implementation of the intranet portal, business cases and elements that will help you to make this process successful and to launch that kind of intranet that your users will love. And if you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments. I will help you to answer them as soon as you will push them to YouTube channel. Thank you very much for watching and see you in the next video.